One day, while walking along the sidewalk leading into the forest, Maggie noticed some strange things that were never there before. She saw a disfigured tree that looked sort of like a really tall man, an 18-ish boy peeking out of a bush. His face was strangely pale, but the tone of his face was all she could see. After all, it's hard to see so many details out of the corner of your eye. And a strange dog with an even stranger face. Knowing her imagination is often too wild, she figured she was just seeing things. Dismissing the feeling of being watched, she held up a certain disrespectful finger in the direction of the boy. Not wanting to see if the fake image was real enough to react, she ran all the way home. 2 weeks later, she went into the forest again. This time she went out at midnight, purposely leaving the sidewalk to continue into the darkness. She loved to explore. Really, she thought about strange things while exploring, but this time was different. She really needed some thinking time after watching so many creepypastas. She just needed time to process. This time was, while exploring, the only thing she thought about was, what was it like to kill? She kind of thought about trying it too, but scared herself in the process. She didn't want to get caught. She finally stopped thinking about how to kill and thought more on the creepypastas. She knew they were real. She was confused about their strategy. She wanted to know everything. She's 14 years old, and she spent 4 years of her life researching the famous creepypasta characters. After what seemed like forever, she stopped walking and accidentally out loud said, "I've got it! I finally got it!" She was sure she just figured them out, and she was going to prove it too. But little did she know, the creepypastas, well, the real ones, knew she figured it out, and were coming for her, soon. Because they've been tracking her research and coming and stalking her in the forest. They even heard her say, out loud in fact, that she had finally figured out the creepypasta secrets and strategy. Put them together and she could single-handedly ruin them all. 4 weeks later. She went into the woods again at midnight, knowing that it's dangerous. She was determined. She was going to find them and live, but only because she was in serious thought the last 4 weeks. She decided she wanted to use their strategy and kill someone, secretly. She was walking around the deepest part of the forest when suddenly a knife whizzed past her face into the tree behind her. She was horrified. She knew they would come, but this was sooner than expected. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw that pale person again. She turned to get a better look at him. It was Jeff! Jeff the killer! Maggie just realized it was him. He shoved her into the ground and yelled, "I'm going to kill you!" right in her face. Then in a soft whisper, he said, "Go to sleep, Maggie." She wasn't surprised. He knew her, so she stayed calm. And just as Jeff was about to lunge the knife into her chest, she said, "Jeff, please don't." He chuckled into her ear. "And why not? I have a good reason. You've been snooping in places you don't belong, and you flipped me off," he whined as she replied while slowly getting up. "I'd be much more useful alive rather than dead." Jeff had a smug look on his face. "Oh, is that so? Did you know dogs can smell fear? Imagine a dog that haunts and attacks because of it. Let's find out if you're scared of this one." Jeff then released a shrill whistle, and within 5 seconds, the same strange husky from earlier appeared, leaping over a bush. Maggie wasn't capable of not letting dogs, no matter how weird. Ran to the adorable, not really, doggy, making sure to let him sniff her hand as she scratched behind his ears. She then said, "Aww, I've always wanted to meet Smile, dog." And of course, she forgot about Jeff, who was, swearing in defeat, said one last thing before running off. "Shit, damn it, you mother..." Wait here or Smiley will attack. I'm going to go get Slender. Sorry, he said. Then, still muttering curse words to himself, faded off into the darkness. And Maggie waited, and waited, still sitting next to the dog. She thought to herself, what the hell came over me? Am I really going to do this? Shit! And after a while, it seemed like an hour actually, he finally came back with Slenderman, walking beside him. Hey, Slendy! Maggie said excitedly as he just stared at her. After 5 seconds, he sent her a message with his mind. Hello, child. Please, don't call me that. She heard. Unsure what to do, she stood up. She was wearing a dress. It was long and a little poofy, but hey, it was her favorite. Knowing Slender and Jeff were chatting what to do, with their minds, of course, she calmly waited. Slender then suddenly turned his head towards Maggie and said, How old are you? 14. What service would you be to us? At first Maggie was stumped, but she finally got the courage to announce her secret wish. I want to join you and learn to secretly kill. Slenderman's face then distorted into a weird way that she assumed was a grin because Jeff was doing that too. Suddenly, as Jeff hit her, Slendy simply said, Very well then, and she blacked out. Suddenly, as Jeff hit her in the head with a pipe, purposely not killing her. This story will be continued. See you next time. Love, Lady Creepy Pasta. Lady Creepy Pasta. Whatever. Don't judge.